Hey everybody, Diana, Larry, Gayton, Kimberly, my favorite subscriber, Mary, Dan, Gary, Ivan, Amy, Ed, Rungamer. Here a little bit before fishing. And Donald, Mark, Brian, everybody, guess what? Guess what the news is? Guess what? Guess what? Can anybody guess? I bet you could, if you really tried. I bet you could. I mean, Rungamer knows. But guess what today was? Dun 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 dun. Cybertruck delivery day. Dun dun dun. Got the truck. So that's super exciting. Super exciting. We got the truck right there. See my two boys. Yeah, I got the truck. Got my truck finally. Now, the biggest and maybe craziest news yet beyond that is the fact that I got truck number 19,811, which means, guess what? They're going to have 20,000 Cybertrucks on the road by the end of the quarter. 20,000 Cybertrucks. Think about that for a minute. Nobody's talking about that number. Nobody is talking about that number at all. So 20,000 trucks on the road is actually, I'm trying to pull some other pictures over. Hold on. I keep messing it up. I'm going to I got some more pictures to show you. Just 1 second here. Kimberly didn't take one of Wrongamer. He was there. And here you go. Here you go. Let's pull this over. Look, right here. Here you go. Nice thank you card. And here we are. Get all the phone app thing set up here and everything. It's got this cool thing, foot kick plate thing right there. So I'm sure Rungamer tell me what I did. So 20,000 of these babies out there. And anybody that saw the recalls today, 10,000 of them. But hey, that's just a drop in the bucket. They're getting more and more out there really, really quickly. It's pretty cool. So there we go. I didn't win it. No, I didn't win. I bought this. I bought this truck. I did not win. I mean, I put my $100 down over 2019 in November, and it's been a long wait. This is the Cyber Beast version. So there we go. There we go. This is pretty cool. And I think Tesla's going to surprise on the earnings call with the number of Cybertrucks that are being produced, because nobody, trust me, I keep tabs on this. Like, I've kept tabs on this thing quite extensively, and nobody is talking about how many trucks are on the road at this point, and whether they're like above the projections. And I think they're actually getting more production out there on the streets than people are anticipating. So, you know, despite lackluster numbers on the bottom end, you know, like the 3s and the Ys, we're seeing more of these high-end $100,000 trucks hitting the streets. And they, you know, think about it. All of these that are being produced right now are Founders Edition with the $20,000 premium. So that's an extra boost to the bottom line right there. I mean, make them until, you know, keep pumping out that extra premium until you can't sell it anymore. I mean, that's like business 101 right there. Sell it for the high price until the high price is done. Bump it down, sell it till it's done. Bump it down, sell it till it's done. I mean, that's how you make the money. So that's our truck right there. The Turnmeyer, the T5 mobile right there. So awesome. I was super excited. I've only put like 3 or 4 miles on it so far. Wrongamer just knew I was going to be out cruising all afternoon. I was not. I was back at the office keeping tabs on the markets. And there we go. There we go. Why do people need a truck like this? Hey, I've been driving an Avalanche for 21 years now. And this is my upgrade from a 21-year-old Avalanche. So there we go. It has a cool tonneau and all the things. It's very similar to my Avalanche, actually. It drives and sits a little different. I got to get used to it, but there you go. It's pretty freaking cool. A different steering wheel. And it does fit all 5 of us. Well, let's just say that this is not going to qualify for any tax credit. Don't worry, you guys are not offsetting the payment for this vehicle right here. Right there, for multiple reasons. So there we were, right there. And Kimberly was taking the picture because, funny enough, you pick up a Cybertruck, it's just sitting there in the parking lot with your name on it. You know, it did have my name on it right there in the windshield. So, and yeah, there you go. There you go. How you fall? Hey, you can haul some interesting stuff in a Cybertruck. So, uh, you should go look at the video of the guys with the rack on the top. I saw this morning on X. They were hauling all sorts of stuff. They had insulation piled in the back, and they had plywood stacked on the top, and then they had boards stacked on top of that. And they built this interesting contraption to haul long boards with a Cybertruck. Hey, ugly if you will, but it's definitely noticeable. So we had people just the short drive from over the mall where I got this over to my office. We had people like waving at us on the street, and it was pretty amusing. So anyway, that's my Tesla surprise. I found out Saturday night that I was getting it, and then Rongamer went in the office, went into the facility on Monday. He was like, "Dude, your truck is sitting here." He's like, "It's not just coming; it is here." So that was yesterday. today I get the truck. So, yeah. Anyway, do I have any pictures of the back? I do. Hold on. I might have to. Hold on. Let me see. I do. I just didn't flip it over. Let me see. Give me 2, 3. Well, give me a few seconds here. I do have a picture of the back. I can. There we go. Send that to myself. And let's see if I can figure out what I just did with Discord because I just minimized it. And dang, clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. And let me pull this over right there. That's the back. There you go. And Kimberly can share some pictures. Jacob got me this cool Rongamer got me this cool shirt. Gave it to me on Saturday, and then lo and behold, everything came together. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, like it or don't like it, it's up to you. Personal preference, but so far, freaking cool machine. I mean, just the difference between a 21-year-old Avalanche, 2003 Avalanche, and this, just light years difference. It's not like, I don't know. I have to measure it. Haven't spent a lot of time with it yet. I had it all of, I got this delivered to me about 11 o'clock this morning, so I've had it all of less than 6 hours at this point. So, there you go. I'll be able to tell you more as we move along. So, I didn't even walk down and test that, Rongamer. I didn't. I have to admit. We'll find out here in a little bit. I was so scared to, I wanted to leave it sitting here where it was safe. So, yeah, Rongamer. It was like max ride height when we got to the office, and Kimberly was like trying to jump out of it. I was like, "Whoa! I think this thing's higher than when we got in." Anyway, still gotta learn all the nuance for this thing. It has an adjustable, like it'll squat and all sorts of stuff. It's a fun, expensive toy, I guess you might say at this point. And we'll see how it goes there. But the big news, there are like 20,000 of these on the road. So to me, that's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I do have insurance on the truck, and it was way cheaper than I thought it would be. Way cheaper. You believe my insurance went up $100 a month? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, that kind of truck, that kind of vehicle only cost me about $100 a month. So, of course, I do have like 4 other cars on my insurance. So, but yeah, the newest one. That's the newest one, of course. But the next one, the next newest car is a 2007. So, it's not like I have anything fancy. It's actually the first new car I've ever bought myself. First new car. I've always bought used cars. So Kimberly was like, "You're growing up. You bought a real first time owner car." There we go. Anyway, that's the big surprise from Tesla right there, that I suddenly got my Cybertruck delivered after all these months of waiting. I did commit to buying the Cyber Beast in February, and we've just been waiting. So it's kind of fun. It was exciting. And I don't think I slept a lot last night, so you have to bear with me today. I may be a little on the tired side. Now, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation, well, it's intended to be informational, fun, educational, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments. All right. No stocks, no options, no bonds, no forex, no futures, no cryptos, no treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. And if you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. All right. That's not what I do. I'm not telling you what to do, but you know what to do. You got to look out for your own money, right? Nobody's going to watch out for it better than you. If you think you can hire anybody that's going to take care of your money better than you, all they're trying to do is make some of your money their money. All right. That's the only reason and only way they're going to take care of it better than you. So just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. All right. So as we were talking about here, that's the Tesla surprise. I got my truck. And the bigger news to me is the fact there's 20,000 of these trucks out there on the road. And I don't think anybody's going to expect that kind of number when we go into earnings here. Now, PCE right here, that's coming up on Friday. Coming up on Friday. And where's my, yeah, there's my calendar right here. So we've got Forex Factory right here on the calendar page. We roll down, look at Friday. Core PCE right there, coming up on Friday. I don't know why Forex Factory only reports core. I'd rather see the regular PCE month over month, year over year. Golly, hiccups, excuse me. But hey, we make do with what we got. We can go look it up somewhere else. But expecting what did I just clicked on it and didn't even see expecting a 0.1. So if we come in soft, what's that going to do for the market? I don't know. We'll see. Soft probably result in a pop. If we get an unexpected pop, we may see a drop in the market. So, yeah. And I apologize to all the TTL people. We got the truck, 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks after the event ended, a week and a half. So, yeah. So, Rob, the cool thing about this truck, included with the price, was home power share. So it's not installed yet. I'm on the TBD, to be done list for installing it, but it's got home power share, so it can power my home in a blackout, and my home can power the truck. So that's coming in the future. That was all part of the price. So yeah. Oh wow, cool. Yeah, that's a pretty slick thing. So, yeah, definitely lots of cool stuff. Like I said, we're not powering my home with the avalanche. Anyway. All right, moving on. What's in the market? What did we do today? It was a kind of a meh day. We saw crypto recovering a little bit. We saw BTBT going absolutely nuts. I mean, look at that candle. That was absolute nuts. Now, can we get higher than we were right back here at 5? I would hope so. This is built up and it's set to pop. How far could we pop at this point? Maybe have a resistance at 750, possibly 9. Possibly, look at this. What if we pop bigger than this? It went from $5 or $6 right here back in 2020 up to 33 in just a matter of like 7 days. I think 7 days, 5 days, 5 days or 7 days. All right. So you tell me that we can't do that again? Yeah, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days right there. 5 days. That's pretty crazy. Now, didn't go any higher. It did the little chop thing, that did the bubble pattern, and went back down. Now, are we going to do it again? Could we pop? Could it be bigger? Entirely possible. This was a higher low, much higher low than back here. So we could do the bubble pop thing all over again, possibly up to $40 or $50. Anything over 20, I'm going to be super stoked right now. I was up like a ridiculous amount of money today on the 100 calls that I have on BTBT. Ridiculous amount of money. Not Cybertruck money, but ridiculous for the size position it is. So, all right. Hopefully, there's some of you in this with me. Hopefully, if we get through that resistance right there, that prior high at 360, it's looking pretty good for at least testing for. I say that a lot for testing that 550 area, if not breaking on up 6, 7, 9. And like I said, anything 20 or above, I'm going to be super stoked. That might be Cybertruck money. So we'll see. Yeah, making a couple Cybertrucks off this would be pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. All right, moving on. I'm going to hit a few market highlights and then we'll do your requests, but just chill out for a minute. Give me a minute to go through the market cover where we are, where we might go, and then we'll get back to requests for at least 30 minutes, if not a little longer. And today, getting a little relief rally after 3 days of gnarliness, I guess you might say. Gnarliness. And it was kind of did this classic breakout thing where we get one of these like inside candles right there. This guy like inside. We didn't really go outside the range of the prior couple days. Then we kind of get this like croquet hammer thing right there yesterday, like upside down croquet hammer thing. And then today, another inside candle. So this is a lot of indecision in the markets. This is bulls and bears fighting it out. And we did have a gamma unclinch last Friday. So last Friday was like a $5.1 trillion option expiration. Largest one ever. That's notional value, not actual dollars of options that expired. That's, market control. $5.1 trillion. Now, to put that in perspective, what that really means, look at this. If we go back to the top, market cap here, infinite market cap, 8 market cap. Look at this. 5.1 trillion is going to be like the size of basically those two stocks right there. Right? The options that expired would control all of Nvidia and all of Alphabet right there. I mean, that's a lot of money worth of options. A lot of money worth of options right there. So that kind of unclinches the market a little bit, allows it to move more freely because those options aren't sitting there. And, if you know a thing or two about options, if you buy the options, you kind of hold that control. And if price moves away, you can either grab the stock or you could sell your option. You kind of like rent the option. But either way, it still has control over the price of the underlying because you can grab that stock from somebody else. And then those gains for the other person are your gains. And a lot of times that's the market makers. So they stack it up against us. And basically, in a long gamma regime, they play opposite to us, which mutes the market moves. And that's what we were in, a long gamma regime. And we're still in a long gamma regime. So we're still getting muted moves. But that outstanding balance of options has reduced. So we could quickly dip it to a short gamma regime just by dropping a little bit, pull it out, and then what happens in a short gamma regime is the option writers, mostly market makers, are going to be trading with us to stay delta neutral. So that's why it seems like downward moves get exacerbated faster. It's partly on the back of options. All right. It's not just people freaking out, but it's partly on the back of options because those options create this gamma situation where market makers, as more options are purchased, market makers are trading with us to hedge the positions. It doesn't seem like it makes sense, but that's how it works. Now, as we get to a long gamma regime, which we currently are in, the market makers trade against us. So any positive action, we see market makers selling. And when we see negative action, we see market makers buying. And that's what we're seeing here, this kind of muted price action off the high as we dropped a little bit. So we saw this right here too. We kind of had a muted kind of price action. But back here, we started getting, after we had a little bit of drop, we got into a negative gamma regime and then it accelerated. And then finally we turned into buyers and it took us a little while to work back out. That's why we had these larger gaps and candles here. And then we popped it back to positive gamma and we started climbing out. So that's the underpinnings of how the market price action works. And it's most of the time it doesn't really matter until we get into extreme situations. This was kind of an extreme long situation where prices were really getting muted and we're kind of grinding higher. And now we have a lot of that gamma that's been removed. We'll see if it allows us to go slip into a negative or if we're going to stack it back to the positive again. All right. And moving on. I usually hit the futures. So NQ, just kind of an inside candle from Friday there, or from Monday, Monday. Monday was like a big kind of flush, and then today, and it was mostly on the back of Nvidia, like right here. That almost looks like Nvidia, right? Like that NQ. So most of the move here, basically on the back of Nvidia, but little splash of a few other things. Apple, kind of the same, but we didn't close green, quite the green. And then Microsoft, the one bright spot pushing higher. And we saw Google, look at that, pushing higher, another bright spot. So Microsoft and Google pushing higher while we're seeing other things being a little less awesome. It's quite interesting. Different dynamic. And Russell here, small caps, indicating some weakness, kind of sitting down here, touch the roadmap line right there on Monday, the 17th. Kind of consolidating just right here after the contract rollover. We popped up, just kind of sitting there, not really moving much at all. Certainly not pushing all-time highs. This is concerning right here for me. This is like a major warning light that the underpinnings of the economy not doing too great right now. Oil right here. We saw a little retrace. I did kind of expect us to drop back, possibly retest the roadmap line before we launch up and retest this breakout zone. And we did come up pretty far, pretty fast, kind of ran out of airspeed. A retest of the roadmap line be totally expected in my book before we bounce, get a move up into this zone, test it. If we can break through, sets us up for the 90 area on oil. And if we get through that, sets us up for the 105 test right here. If we get through that, much higher prices, possibly 150, possibly 170, on up there, way up there, way up there. And that would be a ridiculous price on oil. And some people are saying, it's never going to happen. Well, be careful. They could. But we got to get through resistance. There's lots of layers of resistance to get through to go that high. Brent also kind of almost back to the roadmap line already. Almost moving more freely than CL, light crude, in the United States. This is European Brent crude futures right here. And almost got there. Almost got there yesterday. You know, it's interesting. That was a green candle, and then that was a red candle taking it right back. So we gapped down, came back green, and then took it right back. And gasoline trying to break out really, it's really trying. If we break out, watch for a bigger pop right now. That next resistance, let's draw it right here. This one can get the bigger move also. Has the bigger potential in the charts. It's going to take a move up through this zone up here at 350. But right now, we've got that near-term resistance, if you will, right here at 263. If we can get through that, looks like we can extend it right out into this 290, possibly 299, $3 area, and then make a run at this resistance zone right up here. Right there. So that's what's holding gasoline prices down for now. You can say, they won't let it slip away before the election. I wouldn't bet on anything right now before the election. I wouldn't hold any bias like that. You got to try to let go of any bias you think they might or might not do. You can very quickly get away from any of them trying to do that. These markets are so big and so much money involved that our government can't really, you can pretend like they have influence, but I'm going to tell you, it's more psychological influence than it is actual financial influence. Heating oil right here. Diesel fuel still lackluster. Has not even made it back to the roadmap line. So we have resistance up there at 262. Otherwise, we could still get some downward pressure. We're still on the downside still below the roadmap line. This still lends itself to going lower. Natural gas right here has retraced and retested that downtrend of highs. Now, just like Bitcoin, if this breaks through any significant way, we're probably going to flush at least back to the roadmap line. If not, get a move lower low than what we saw back here in February. And so far playing out a little differently than we did last year when we did the same sort of pattern here. We ramped up and it took us all the way into October to get through the roadmap line, but this one got up there pretty quickly. Retesting from above. If we can break out higher, $4 is the target. If we break back down, possibly going down below that low, maybe all the way down to $1.15 right there. All right, bye, Rongamer. Have fun fishing. Hope you catch a big one. Kind of nice drum this weekend. And gold. Look at that. Just churning. Churning. This is not bullish yet. I really want to see this break above this downtrend of highs before we look for that bigger move to 2,500. It's right now indicating we could see a flush down here to this 2200 zone pretty quickly and easily. And it could be like a type of move. Like, look at that right there. Could get a couple of those, 2-3 days of that, and be right down there. Kind of like that one right there. That big. So watch out for a flush back down this 2200 area, just above where we consolidated back here in March. If we do that, we can set it up for a larger pop. And silver right there, looks like it's kind of indicative that we may see that flush right down to that 26 area, 2650 on silver. Copper, we're coming down at least back to the roadmap line, probably around 425. And if we don't hold it, watch out for the bigger drop down here, $3, possibly even down lower low than what we had back here in July of 22. So it's kind of like levels of support. If we don't hold them, we can fold them right down into that lower low. Been holding that for a while. That we're probably going to see it. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. This is like a 3-wave move up to a classic resistance zone right there. It may not have held this orange box. Got a little extra hyper on the top, but, and you may say, well, that was a higher high, but this still did it in a 3-wave corrective type fashion, and that can still result in a drop right back down here. Be careful. And it could get nasty. I mean, we could see this extend even down to like $1.69 a pound on copper, possibly even lower. But that's what's one step at a time. All right, don't get too short on me. We've got all these layers of support to get through. So first one being this 430 area right there. And I mean, I can talk sugar, corn, wheat, whatever you want to in the request if you want to. Let's hit Bitcoin really quick. BTC, USD, and hit the all-time history right here. We hit the roadmap line and held pretty definitively today. Getting a nice bounce, closing back above. Now, maybe like, well, it's time to get long. Be careful. Be careful. So far, that resistance zone above us is pretty tough. If this is all we do, we may come up here and find resistance again before we can push on through. Now, if we get a lower low than what we had back here, that may be what we need to springboard out of here. But this could be the bottom, could be the low. We've seen this plenty of times where we come up shy, then we fully hit, and then we take off. So this could be just a nested running, what they call a running correction, where this low is higher than this low. And it's not my preferred move, but in a running correction, you can get outsized blow-off moves. So it is potentially out there. Still the target $150,000 to $300,000 a coin, but we may find some resistance at this 75, 77, 78,000 zone, possibly the 85 zone that I've been talking about for a couple months. And Ethereum, I really wanted to see this hit 3,200. Didn't quite make it. Came up a little shy. And maybe to Goose's credit, when everybody's looking for that same kind of flush, the buyers come in early and we miss fully hitting the target. I mean, $34. That was pretty close, but didn't actually touch 3,200. My alert's still sitting there. And that's what I want to see. I want to see it. Now, if we do break out back above this 3650 area, I'll probably buy my leverage long. I have not bought ETHU. I may buy that. And I'm not looking at options, just looking at 2x leverage shares right there. There's not going to be options. So, all right. That's kind of the normal highlights I hit. And it's been a normal 30 minutes here in the warm up. So at this point, it is time for requests. I'll stay till the last request gets made, or hopefully, or I get tired or hungry or have a headache or whatever it is. So now I need you to request the full ticker or use full sentences. All right. Don't fuss at me. Hey, you missed my ticker. Just tell me what ticker it is. All right. Now, one ticker per person per request. Let somebody else go. Preferably 2 other people go. Then you can make another request. If you're going to request a crypto, please use the full like BTC USD, the full pair, so I can pull it up on TradingView. I need tickers that I can pull up on TradingView. If you just tell me like pull up Amazon, well, I do know the ticker for that. I don't know all the tickers that are out there, so please use the full ticker and write in capitals if you can, so I can pick them out. All right, here we go. Can you comment on MCK? What do you want to comment about? It's extended to the upside and it needs a retrace. That's what I would say. That is, it's been a long time since it hit the roadmap line back in May of last year. Last consolidation was back here in April, and we could see a wicked pullback. I mean, that's a big up, and it ramped up, and it's going higher faster, which is indicative of an exponential move, which usually doesn't end well. So that's my warning. FTX had earnings. Was it tomorrow or today or today? Earnings today. Yeah. There you go. Tuesday after close, and it's a pop. Beautiful. So let's see. I haven't drawn anything on this in a while. That retrace, that target 296, possibly 300 is the upside resistance, possibly 319 if we get above that 302, and that could lead to a bigger upside potential. That high, that low, higher low, yeah, 323, possibly 344, possibly 400 up there for the bigger. If we're gonna extend the bigger move, we'll probably get a pullback in there before we get that high, but just based on the way this price action's been, but it may just go ripping and rip all the way up there and then do it. So be careful on that one. Inium. Let's see. Did we finish the correction? Probably not. A little bit of rally up to resistance. That's a cautionary point right there that we didn't break on higher, but that resistance right there may result in a deeper correction. And that fib line doesn't mean anything at the moment. So we have that move down, that retrace, and that move down would be an equality move where this first move right here, down to here, and this move down here are basically equal. So that may be where NEM is heading next, 38.75 right there. And then if we find support, we could launch on off. And right there, yeah, we turned down at the 618, so that would be a classic return to the bottom there. That happens to be right where the roadmap line is too, right in that same vicinity. And then we could go popping off up here to this target area 45, possibly 46. And if we start breaking above that zone where we consolidate over here, maybe, just maybe, we rally on up a little higher. And oh, I have the ADJ clicked on. So yeah, that then possibly ridiculous targets are like 100, 120, and moving stuff. So those possibilities are sitting out there. Lots of possibilities. So looking like we could retrace down here, this 38 area right there. All right, Riley. This one's a hard one to deal with right here. So we rallied up, hit the 618, but this is the lowest low. So this gets really difficult to kind of work here. So found resistance. That drop came up, 618, turned back down. Watch for a breakdown. We can go much lower. Doesn't matter how many buyers, insiders are buying. That's kind of a bearish setup right there. Be careful. Not too good right there. Where's support? Prior lows. Right there. But watch this. Right there. We could extend it down to this 1250 area right down here. Watch out for that. All right, AVGO has a stock split coming up right here, 10 for 1. And I would expect it to come back down to the roadmap line. Back down here. Doesn't matter what kind of deal they set up with, whoever they set up the deal with. Stock chart says they're overextended. They're going to need some correction here. It's extended. Coming back. PBR. Possibly coming back down to this zone. Resistance at the roadmap line right now, that's hanging around 1530, and support down here 12 to 13 area right there. Now, could that have been the bottom? Could be. We're going to break above the upside resistance, and then the downtrend of lows before we go higher. That's PBR for you. A win. Resistance at the roadmap line. Possible target up here, but that's looking kind of negative, and we may see extension lower. That's a three-wave move up off the lows right there. That can result in a move down to this 265, 261, possibly 250 area right there on AON. And Solana USD is sitting on the roadmap line. Now we need a break above this prior consolidation to head on up to 228, 245, possibly 298, possibly set us up to move on up to 443, 689. But, big but, we made it below the roadmap line, so watch out. Right, watch out. That was a higher low, still slightly upward bias, but right on the roadmap line. It's a dangerous spot to be in, and if we can break higher, it'll be really nice. I am long Solana. Just full disclosure. And so I'd have an upward bias on that for if it matters. FTI. I don't think my little 5 coins or 7 coins is going to matter though. FTI. That was going to be a small time frame trade there. Looking at the bigger situation, we came up, did the bounce back here in November, didn't break down, we held up pretty well, bounced off the roadmap line, came up through the extension, hit the 618, did a retrace back, as classic, like cruised right on through 1272, no resistance whatsoever. Occasionally we see that, it's only like 35% of the time. Then consolidated, and we bounced back down to the 1272 where we found the support. Now, the next extension could, doesn't have to be, could be 27, 28, possibly 29 right up there, but we may flush on down. So support down here around 23, the breakout level right around here, 23, 22, 23, and the roadmap line. So there's the support, there's the potential target up there. And GME, that one got really lackluster. So I was looking for another breakout. This is winding up. Could possibly do another launch. We're at a higher low. Yet again, went a little deeper than I like to see. I have 12 shares and no options left. So right there would be the target if it's going to pop, but it doesn't have to. And it could take way longer than we expect. So that's GME for you. Now, if it were to break down though, down here, $5. That would kind of suck, but that's the long and the short of it right there on GME. BitX, I mean, there's nothing to really talk about here. It is leveraged Bitcoin. Leveraged charts don't always follow patterns, so not much to talk about on BitX. It could bounce off the roadmap line. It could not bounce off the roadmap line. It might go deeper if Bitcoin decides to go on the deeper move. So it's leveraged, and I don't know if it's telling any kind of story. SWBI did spike down below the roadmap line. Not too great to see, but a move back up through 16. It could take us up to 18, 19 on the upside. We kind of went for the gap fill, didn't quite get there, so we may see a gap fill right here. If we're going to continue to be soft and stay under the roadmap line, we may come down here, fill that gap before SWBI can find a bottom and turn and burn higher. I have about 1,000 shares, 1,000, 2,000. I got some shares, and I'm holding out for the bigger pop, probably up in here, 70, 90, possibly even up here, 100, 200. It's going to be a while. It's like a 10-year hold, probably, maybe longer. That's SWBI for you. Has nothing to do with anything about the company, just the chart pattern. Just the chart pattern. Alrighty. LRCX. That one right there. Right up to the extension target, 1100. And retracing back into the breakout zone there at the 1000 area. If it holds there, we can go for the extension. That next extension, 1220-ish. And 1280 above that. And 1220, 1280. Numbers get big really quickly. So could see that extension, but then support down here at the roadmap line around 880-ish, 875, 880. If you're interested in the roadmap line, link is in the description. Click the more button. down below to get more information. NVIDIA, kind of already went over that. It's pretty much fully cooked here. Went over it quite in depth the last couple of days, and this morning, this is only 16% correction from the high to the low yesterday. 16, 17% right there, 16%. And if we see something more sinister developed, well, probably going to do like a 40, 45%. So we could be like a third of the way there so far. And we could go a lot deeper down to this resistance support, support where we found support back here and a little bit of resistance breaking through over here. And if we break through below that, could be down here where we consolidated all the way back down around 50 bucks right there. You may be like, no way. But this is historically, after going exponential, has historically done some 60 to 70% pullbacks in its history. Like right there. Not that long ago. Maybe like, well, times have changed since then. Yeah, how much? That's 68% pullback right there. How about this one? That's basically a 60% pullback right there. How about this one? It's 85% pullback right there. NVIDIA is notorious for deep corrections. Be careful, please. All right, it was never trading for 34 cents. Like that's like anybody that tells you like you should have bought NVIDIA, it was 34 cents. It was never 34 cents. Don't give me that trash. All right, the stock splits make it that price. So right now we had a 10 for 1 right there. So every price prior got divided by 10, but that was off after this 4 for 1 right there. So now it's 40x right there. So those prices used to be 40x higher back here. And then there's another split somewhere in there. Yeah, right there. So 3 for 2. That really messes with the math. Another one right there. 2 for 1. And another one right there. 2 for 1. So we've got a lot of multipliers added up into these prices in NVIDIA. All right. MCD. And law of big numbers. If you haven't heard me talk about that before, law of big numbers, right? Anything up here at the top of the infinite market cap, right up here at the top, it's very difficult for this to double price, whether it be Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, even Google, even Amazon. All right. Any of these up in here, it's going to be very difficult for these to double in price. Why? Because it takes trillions of dollars. All right. The market just doesn't invent trillions of dollars of market cap. All right. For Microsoft to double in price, it's going to take $3.3 trillion of market cap added onto it. For Apple to double in price, $3.2 trillion. You see anything up there that's like $6.4 trillion? No, we're at the top. All right. It's going to take a lot of time to grind that much money out of the market. Same with NVIDIA. How hard is it going to be to double the share price of NVIDIA? Extremely hard. All right. Same with Google. Like how many 4.2 or $4.4 trillion companies are up here? None. So that would make this the largest company in the land if it doubled. All right. That's extremely, extremely difficult to do for the market. Now, we say all that, right? But then you go look at something like, I've been using this often. I'll come back to McDonald's in a second. ANF right here, right? Like this has been up 400% in like the last year or whatever. I mean, some ridiculous amount of gain. Yeah, look at that. 1,200, almost 1,200% off that low right there in September 22. If you go off the COVID low back there, it's even more. 2,300% off that COVID low. Now, you may be like, well, that's just the same. It's, there's no way it can double, right? Now check this out. Look right here. Look at the financials. This company is only worth $8 billion. Almost $9 billion. Let's say 9, just for the sake of it. So, how hard is it for the market to absorb another $9 billion? I don't care what the industry is. You can say, well, that make it the most expensive clothing company ever. Well, okay. Sure, maybe not. $18 billion is a drop in the bucket, all right? NVIDIA, fluctuated more than $18 billion worth of market cap today. Just think about it. This can double very easily, whereas NVIDIA doubling is very, very hard. Just the law of big numbers. All right, big numbers are very hard. Zero is still zero, all right? When you have 1, easy to double to 2. When you have 1 trillion, very difficult to double to 2 trillion. All right, that takes a lot of ones. One, a lot of ones to get another trillion. Think about it. All right, 1's still 1. Now, moving back to McDonald's, probably looking at something more bearish. Hate to say it. Looking like we may flush this 232 area. And if we don't hold that, it could develop into a much bigger move down. It's looking like the red arches here that may lead to a bigger downside move. And SMCI, that one right there, definitely not showing strength in the face of NVIDIA being strong. This one may have done its thing. We've got support here at 700. Then down here at 400, 375, and maybe on down around 250, where we consolidated like last year and last summer into the fall, not that long ago. Why is this overhyped? Not for a great reason. Dell does what they do. Dell does practically the same thing. So watch out for a bigger, deeper retrace. URA is right back to the roadmap line. Clear up some fib lines. And right back to the roadmap line. We need to break above this 31 area to indicate 40, 34, 35. I have shares, been selling $35 and $40 calls against it for a couple years. Been expecting that move higher. This high, this low. 35, 36, possibly 45 above that. We're just grinding the breakouts. Could possibly get an upside move. An outsized upside move right there. Now, support down here below us, 25. We get below that, probably coming back down, all the way back down to this $19, $20 area down here. All right, that's URA. Z for Zillow has been up a little bit since last week, but pulling back a little bit, so almost flat now that we broke up and coming back down. Love to see this get some continuation. We're back to retesting those highs. We may have to go fill the gap. Be not fun, but we may do that before we can go higher. So watch for that gap fill. We gapped up, return back before we can break on out. Sometimes that's the way these work. Now, if we break down below this and start getting a close below that, we may, in fact, go further down to 29 on Zillow. This looks positive, but we've got to hold it. All right, we got to get the continuation. First move up, retrace. Now we got to get the continuation. Got to break back above these, and if we do, indications are we're going to the all-time, this $60 high area right over here. I said, mistakenly, probably said all-time high, which is not for a long ways yet. 200 all the way up here. That's going to take a lot of work to get up there. I expect us to run out of steam well before we get there, before we do another bigger retrace. And Dell, right on the back, consolidating the support down here at the roadmap line, 110. The resistance up here, 230. That's a wide zone, and we're right in the middle with no indication which way we're going. No high probability, anything. Tesla, I am long some Tesla from 180. This is resistance. If we can break above, we have more resistance and more resistance and more resistance. We've got this gap down. We left sitting back here in January, and we're waiting. Now, there was positive news. JT bought a Tesla today for the first time ever and got my Cybertruck. There's been, I'm Cybertruck number 19,811. So that means there's like 20,000 of these on the road. And this may result in some positive news when we get the earnings call here in a couple weeks. So watch out. That could lead us to breaking out and moving higher, despite the fact that everybody's like, oh my gosh, the car companies are selling less cars. Yeah, we all know they're selling less cars. All right. Everybody's selling less cars. But who's doing the better in selling less cars? All right. You got to look at the whole and the fact that Tesla's not just a car company. All right, they're a robotics company. I mean, I can say all sorts of things about it, but there's potential on this chart that's not being represented. You can say it's overvalued for a car company. I argue it's not really a car company. All right, it's kind of an AI company, sleeper of the one in that respect too. But all this resistance, we got to get through it before we can head on the bigger path. I have long held 1500 was the target, and that was pre-split price. So after the split price, we're talking about 500 is the target, which would be right up here where my target is, right there. Wow, my nose is just a piece of fuzz or something. Excuse me. All right. FedEx, already covered that. S-Bucks is just kind of this lackluster spot. Here's the resistance, and support is all the way down here at 60. So we're just kind of sit here, not really saying, price action, not really indicative of anything. We've got the gap down from all the way up here at 87, which happens to be where the roadmap line is. So we've got that gap down resistance right there that we're going to have to fill at some point if we're going higher. And then we've got that consolidation we did right there before we dipped. So market's kind of stacked against S-Bucks, and odds are we may get continuation lower at this point. So be very careful on Starbucks. It mucked up this pattern. Doing this gap down was not good for continuation higher. On Starbucks, and it's not going to be for a while. FET is underneath the roadmap line, retesting. Golly, still itching. Not sure what's going on. That's still resisting from the bottom, and we could see return back to the $1.05, possibly $1 area right down there. Be careful. We're going to have to break above this 268 to get the higher move up into the $4 area right up here for FET. Yeah, got to get above this 225 area, and $4 will be the target right there. It's like I can see the fibs without even drawing the fibs. And GOGL, Google, Alphabet, going for the extension. Resistance 188, 199. GS, going for potential extension. Didn't fully hit the 480 area. That could be resistance. We're going to see money flow into financials ahead of earnings, as we see that every time. Earnings coming up next, well, I don't know if it's late next week or the week after. Let's see. Late next week? No, week after. So we've got earnings coming up on financials. Not next week. Actually, two weeks for Goldman Sachs. We'll probably see Bank of America stuff that week after next. Bank of America. Well, they're actually on the 16th. So they're after Goldman Sachs. WFC. Got, yeah, there's the 12th right there. So we're going to see some financial earnings pick up starting on the 12th right here. 11th, 12th probably, and then roll into the next week. So we may see a rally into, and they probably bumped it off because of the holiday week next week right there. We're going to close early at 1 p.m. on Wednesday next week, and then Thursday. So I'm not going to be able to do 30 minutes of awesome next week on Tuesday. We may do it on Wednesday. We'll see what we get to. I'm going to be traveling on Tuesday, and I'll have to make this work. So I'll probably be getting on an airplane right when I'm supposed to be doing this. And so we're going to have to punt and maybe do it on Wednesday next week. So I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida from the 30th through the 2nd. I'll be coming back on the 2nd evening. Hate to do that. We've had almost a 3-year stretch without missing a Tuesday, but I'm going to have to skip next week. And somebody said Kimberly should do it. She's not going to be super confident doing requests. That's just not. I can set her up with the morning show, but trying to do requests is a whole different ballgame. So even though I started out doing requests, that's not what she's proficient at doing. So Bristol Myers Squibb, all just looking nasty. How low can she go? She can keep going lower. There we got support at 38, possibly 35 below that. And got resistance. I went through this morning. Like, there's not enough candles to really draw it, so this makes it really difficult to project. If I was trying to wild guess it, 53, but that's already hit the 38 today. One of these is going to be the last one we hit, and I would not expect it to go higher than 200, but that would be an absolute ridiculous move. So watch out. This thing's probably getting near played out, and we're probably going to see a bigger, deeper retrace, and it's going to be like 100 and 200, 300 candles before I can really start charting this much. Kaba. New stuff just doesn't lend itself to charting the way I do. Kaba went on a much deeper retrace here, and it's a biotech. Caution there also. Support all the way down here in that zone. Watch out for that. And DOCU. Potential to find support right there. We kind of tapped it once, not getting away from it. We're going to have to break above the resistance at 55. Support here, all the way down to 44. And we're just laying on support. Not too great at the moment. Now, if we go like this, and we may see a dip down to 46.50 before we can find the ultimate bottom. That would be where this first move down echoes off of this move down. We get a flush on down to this 46.50 area. All right, that's DocU for you. And Hut USD, huh? That's not one that I can pull up very easily. Pull up Hut USDT. That looks like an absolute crap chart. So still looks like a crap chart. Crap chart. That's a giant, basically a giant dumpster fire. Apple is sitting at resistance. Popped through a little bit, came back, sitting on that 1272. The next move up would be 224. Watch out for a bigger retrace back down into the 185, not 190 area where the roadmap line is hanging out. Could come back and retest this $200 breakout, but if we do that, I'd watch out for the deeper flush there. All right, ENPH is looking pretty horrible and going for the target zone right down here at 93. There. XLK is hanging. Can we get the next extension 240 and support down here at 202, possibly 212, where we consolidated quite a bit. Found that little resistance there. Support. I guess that was support. Dipped in, took off, may come back into that zone, and it may be out here a little ways where the roadmap line continues to climb. Make sure I click that right. See this roadmap line continue to climb, and we retrace back down over here somewhere in this zone, somewhere over here, like that. That entirely is possible on XLK. IRN. Remember, I'm just hitting dailies. If you're asking about a trade you're in because you're in one of the waterfall alerts or something like that on a smaller time frame, bigger time frames may or may not influence that smaller time frame reaching its target. IREN. That's not looking too great to me. It's looking like resistance at this prior consolidation area right here. That can result in a bigger, deeper retrace right back down over here. Just choppy sideways type of action right there. Look at that range. That corrective range from that high at 28 to that low at $1. And we could go all the way back up to 28 and still come back to $1 again. Be careful on IREN, TNDM, tandem diabetes care. You know, GLP-1 drugs getting approved for diabetes and for sleep apnea and for all the things. As long as this one can hold above this price right here around 32, 33, if we hold on this correction above that, if we can hold the roadmap line, that looks like we're good to at least come up and test this zone right in here at 75, where we consolidated all the way back here. If we do that, possibly go cruising on up here, but if we don't hold that, that's a big corrective move up, and we're probably going lower low than what we had right back here at 13. So that's your kind of line in the sand right there. It's that prior high from back there in December. We get below that high, game's on for going lower. All right. HRTS. And that's sideways choppy. Just, I don't even have a roadmap lines. Can't really give you much of anything here. Just sideways. Just not really doing much at all. That high, that low. Probably going to float along in this range. Possibly could break out, but possibly not. Right there. Don't have to do anything. And Hasbro sitting on top of the roadmap line. Failed to break out though. This could be indicative that we're going to make another move down. Hit the 618 right there. First move down. Trace. Could be indicative that we're going down to this zone right in here. Watch out for that flush. Kimberly pointed out I may have incorrectly attributed Barbie to the wrong company previously, but turns out the two companies I was talking about, they have a reciprocity agreement to both use the brand. One of them owns the brand, and one of them can use the brand for various products. So, while I was wrong on who actually owns the brand, Barbie, I was right on the fact that they both sell the products. So, anyway, TGLS. That one coming back down pretty hard. Didn't hold the roadmap line, so this one may experience a deeper retrace at this point. And as far as where that support may be, that low, that high, that support hanging out right here where I've got this line. You may see a retrace back into this zone right here before we find support and go higher again. Initial move up, found resistance just in the vicinity of the prior high, do a 618 retrace, classic, and then make the next move. So opportunity to potentially buy that if it holds here and turns again. And gotta scroll. Oh, excuse me. CMG Chipotle has a large split coming up tomorrow. 50 for one. I guarantee you this is going to be way cheaper tomorrow. Way cheaper when we come in. 50 times cheaper. And watch out. Sometimes when things do that craziness, going into a split, we see a large correction coming back out. Now, Chipotle, a $90 billion company. Think of that. Like, Abercrombie and Fitch could become 10 times bigger and still be smaller than Chipotle is right now. And they just sell burritos. They don't even sell cargo pants. I mean, hey, everybody got cargo pants. There's people can do without a burrito. All right, just tongue in cheek there, just being silly. Anyway, law of big numbers. This thing can still get bigger. Can $90 billion turn into $180 billion? Yeah, we could turn this into a $180 billion company. So stock price could double again, kind of easily. All right. Now, as far as played out, it's kind of played out. We may see a deeper retrace back to roadmap line, back to maybe a breakout line, back to 2000. So be careful. We're due a retrace. Sometimes it does some wicked retraces. All right, we've done some long retraces, done some short retraces. This thing is known for doing retraces. Be careful. It may do one after the split. And CDLX. That's $50 cheaper a share. It doesn't affect the company's actual value. The number of shares will increase by 50 times, and the value of those shares will divide by 50. CDLX just going sideways. Didn't hold the zone I wanted to see. This may be indicative we're going on down to $4 back down here. And AAPL already did. Apple PROP is sitting on the roadmap line. This may result in a deeper retrace. This looks like one wave down retrace, and we could see another move down right here. Move down, move up, and support at 450. Caution, low price stuff around $10 or cheaper. Doesn't always follow the patterns, but that may drop right down in there before we see a move up. And this is a dumpster fire, essentially. 7. Holy moly. Nasty. Nasty. All right. Lost where I was on the. There's the list. Cat. Sitting on the roadmap line. Let's just remove all the indicators, all the drawings, excuse me. And we have retraced that resistance, 354, target 391, 400 if we're going higher. If we don't go higher, the correction could be vicious. That was overlapping on the upside. It makes me think we're going to get continuation as long as we stay over 294. If we don't stay over 294, we're coming all the way down, probably back to the 175 area, at least, on CAT. And RIVN, excuse me, is pretty crap and looks like it has a $6 target down here. Resistance at 13, target at 6. Not even like negatively biased because I bought a Tesla, just, you know, that looks like it's going down. All right. Meta. Target's up there. Basically did a roadmap. Oop, excuse me. There's that fuzz trying to come back out. Meta basically did a roadmap bounce in 550, possibly 570, possibly 620. So watch out for the upside resistance and support down here at the roadmap line for 40. If we get below that, we could go deeper. Right now, upside target would be the bias since we're above the 618 level where the arrow was right there. So that tips the odds. We're going up to the target. And PayPal turned a bit sour after I got into this. Not what I wanted to see. If we get below this 57 area, we could come on down to 43 where I've been holding that target for 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, it was June 2 years ago. I drew this arrow. I think maybe longer back than that. I thought we might get down here, and it's taken a while to get down here, and that failed to go higher. So we get below this 57, tipping the odds we're coming on down to the target right there on PayPal. Costco keeps rallying strongly. They just announced that they're keeping the $1.50 hot dogs and Coke, Pepsi, if you will, soft drink. And that's I mean, there's nothing to chart there. It's just blasted off above the extensions. Next resistance maybe at 900, 930. Maybe like where's the law of big numbers? Well, we're at 379. So it takes 379 billion to make this bigger. That's getting pretty big. So they're probably going to start slowing down. Now they could become a $1 trillion company. It's just not as likely for a retailer to get up there. I mean, Amazon's up there, but you know, is Costco as big? I don't know. You tell me. And I mean, you look at Walmart, I think of Sam's Club and Costco in the same parallel. I don't really think of Amazon in the same parallel at this point, but that one's $500 billion. So could Costco become as big as Walmart? Possibly. Do I have the super centers that Walmart has? Not really. So it's a interesting dynamic playing out there. And all right, you're welcome, Leah. And NVDS is a leveraged short, and this will pop if NVIDIA drops. Otherwise, this is going to continue to be an absolute dumpster fire into the toilet. I would not expect anything else. If you're playing with this, it's playing with fire. You may get burned. UBER probably will get burned. Even if NVIDIA drops, you still might get burned on NVDS. Uber resistance right there at 75 and may drop down to here to the 50 area, 50 to 60 area right there on Uber. If we could break out above that zone, 87. So right now, no high probability anything for Uber. Nets is under the roadmap line. Didn't fully hit this zone down here. If we can break above, get back above. Let's see. Pull this down to the low. If we can get back above this 94 area, right above this consolidation, could tip the odds. We're going up to 135, but it doesn't look high probability at the moment where we are right now. Got to get above 94 with some daily closes up here to get the continuation for net. NUE, thought I already talked about that, but it's broken down below the uptrend of lows and doesn't look good for the home team. This can flush way on down, possibly back down to this 88 area down here. Let's like cut that in half. Cut that baby in half. So ISRG. Yeah. Kimberly was one of the first people in the country to get a Da Vinci robot surgery. Not necessarily proud of that fact, but she was. And should have bought stock in them way back when. 46 on the upside potential, and not a lot to chart on this baby. Just broke out. Retrace would be kind of expected, but it's just doing what it does. 46, possibly 500 would be my next area of resistance. NTAP is just blasted on up, and not much to say. Making extensions. At some point, it's hard to predict any higher targets. That's 131, possibly 181, but it's higher. Getting every one of these lines that climbs higher to, it's higher likely we're going to go down back to the roadmap line or something deeper. So, can it blast on up? Sure. Is it very likely? No. We drop drastically. This one's like this zone right down here at the 1272, like 70% likely. This zone drops off to 35% likely. This zone drops way down like 15% likely, and it drops severely on up until we're like 1% or less likely to just hit this 686 level. We end up there. Alrighty. Crux. Resistance is 172. Support is down at 126. And we came up a little shy. We got close. Thought we hit the purple. I've been adding this new line. Crap. Thank you. Little bar should be down here. Been adding this new 1.1448, which is 90% of the way to the 1272. Take whatever that 1272 target is and multiply by 90, and that's what you get right there. And turns out when I say these are fuzzy zones, plus or minus 10%, that would be the kind of zone you get for bigger moves and bigger prices. You get bigger, fatter zones. We basically scraped just below it. I would still expect it to pop up in there on this move, and so we're a little shy of the target. 166 to 182, possibly 233 if we're going to just blast on a higher. But eventually we're going to hit resistance and do a bigger, deeper correction like we've done so many times in the past on Crocs. Sometimes we go on a heck of a run. Look, that was a heck of a run right there. No looking back, and then all of a sudden we look back. Moving up, retrace. We haven't even hardly broken out yet. And that all-time high is still sitting up there at 186. So we haven't even gotten above that yet. So we may be on a rally to go check 186. All right. PLTR. All righty. Resistance 28. And watch out, if we hold this, we are at resistance. If we hold this and turn down, right down here is where we could go. 14, 28 on the upside at this point. 28, 29. NWO looking weak. May drop further down. Careful. $5-6 right there. And that's Rubbermaid for you. Rubbermaid's bouncing down. BITO is just a reflection on Bitcoin, but it seems to be a little extra on the downside here. Dun, 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 dun. We may see a drop on, if Bitcoin does the further decline, we may see this push on down to right there around 19 on BITO. LO. LOW bouncing off the roadmap line, may get a deeper retrace now. That support all the way down here at 155. And if we break above that resistance up here at 280. There you go. That's lows for you. And I just skipped a whole bunch. I deserve a vacation. It's not a vacation. It's work. I haven't taken a vacation since 2021. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Somebody's sitting out in the parking lot honking their horn. Beep, beep, beep. It's not a car alarm because it's not consistent enough. Anyway, 34. Well, it might be a car alarm. It's just not being consistent. Resistance at 34. Oh, gosh, this looks horrible. Watch for that to turn down again. We hit the target on the downside, but I don't know. We're gonna have to get all the way above this stuff at 50 to indicate we're going higher. And Amazon's trying to put them out of business, so danger for Chewy. AVAX USD. I'm going to Florida to meet up with some other gurus for a product launch. 18 right there on the downside. Where that one's probably heading at this point. If we can find support, upside is vast. 330, but looks like we're going to do more correction before we do that. So that's Avalanche for you. And Visa. Oh, cool, Gary. Glad you made some money on NNE. Sitting here, resistance is where we topped out twice, and support is down here at 270 area. If we can break above that, we possibly could get some extension. Possibly. And right there, 270, 280. Give her 294 if we get above it. If we don't, watch out. So we got resistance where we topped those two, these two. Oof. Woof. 294, 297 above that. And deck. Support down here. Resistance is difficult to figure out at this point. Maybe 1100 and 25, 1130. 1125, 1130, and support down here at 840. PGR. Chopping sideways. Looks like it may want to come back down to this 190 area. Net already did. And hey, Sledge. Did you watch the beginning for my big news? And Rivian just popped 15 minutes. 15 after 2:15 after. Was it up there? Even higher? Yeah, 18 actually. Yeah, watch out. Still bearish. Doesn't matter what it's doing. Like, won't matter until tomorrow. Resistance still up here. 30. Can it pop to 30 and still go to 6? Absolutely. SYM. On the way down. Support down here at 20. Amazon. This is a precarious position for Amazon. Can it break higher? Yeah, I got some small time frame stuff I've been. So resistance, hitting resistance. So the target up here at 213. Support down here at 169. And if that lets go, we may see a bigger, deeper retrace back down to 120. There you go. DDOG. That one's been moving a little bit, not like very big, but just moving. It's been making a bunch of my lists, basically because it's interacting with the roadmap line a lot, I guess. And that high, that low. If we can break above this 127 area up to 132 area, where those prior highs were, 144, 148. Maybe if we can get above that, we can head on higher, but right now, not looking too superb. If we break down below this box here, we may get a bigger, deeper retrace. This is a 3-wave move up right here. This is very dangerous for going higher. And this could develop into a bigger downside move right there on Datadog. We're at that 618. we hold it. Watch out. They may fold it back down to 45. And all right, everybody. That is the list right there. Thanks for coming. And we're down to about 70 people on the stream. So I'll be back first thing in the morning, 9:15. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell with the notifications. Make sure you set an alarm in your phone. 9:15 Eastern. I'll be live before the market opens, going through what's moving. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to give test drives, I guess. going to give family members rides in the new truck. So, all right. Bye for now, everybody.